What? Sarah asked. Kaelen, what are you thinking? The border tournament has a prize. The winner gains access to the seal of Shangsha, the thunderbearer, the primordial of justice and purification. If I can find him, free him, his purification energy can destroy the manifestation before it's complete. The tournament is scheduled for 3 days from now, Greaves objected. We don't have 3 days. Then I need permission to enter the seal now. Without a tournament, without bureaucracy, that would break all protocols. The other nations would be furious. The other nations will be glad if the alternative is being devoured by an outer god. Kaelen turned to Sarah, your grandfather. He knows where Shangsha's seal is? Sarah hesitated. Yes, but there's a problem. Shangsha's seal is in Zephyrian territory, in the peaks of eternal thunder, and Zephyria doesn't allow foreigners in their sacred mountains. They'll allow it when they understand what's at stake. Or they'll declare war on Viridia for violating their sovereignty. Let me deal with Zephyria, Greaves said unexpectedly. Commander Zephan owes me favors. I can convince him to grant temporary passage, but you'll have to go alone. Any military force in Zephyrian territory would be considered an invasion. Alone is how I work best, Kaelen said. The journey to the peaks of eternal thunder took 12 hours in a military aircraft lent by Greaves. Kaelen spent most of the time studying the records that Aldrich Valen had sent him by arcane transmission. Shangsha's seal was the 5th of the 9, located on the highest peak of the mountain range, where perpetual storms made access nearly impossible. The primordial of justice was described as an entity of light and thunder, whose mere presence purified corruption and incinerated darkness. Exactly what he needed to stop Ithgall's manifestation, but there was a warning in the records. Shangsha's seal was protected by a guardian, an entity conjured by the primordial itself to test those who sought its power. It was not an ordinary enemy. It was a reflection of the heart of the one who faced it, a judgment of character, not of strength. You are worried, Zhiyan observed, a little. Tests of character are complicated. What will the guardian see in me? What do you fear it will see? Anger, hurt, the desire to prove that those who humiliated me were wrong. Is that enough to fail? No, that is human. What matters is what you do with those feelings. Do you use them to destroy or to protect? Do you seek power for revenge or for duty? A bit of both, Kaelen admitted. Then be honest. The Guardian does not punish truth. It punishes lies, especially the lies we tell ourselves. The peaks of eternal thunder were exactly as the name suggested. Mountains whose summits disappeared into perpetual storm clouds, lightning dancing between the peaks like serpents of light. The wind howled with an almost human voice, and with every step, the air became more rarefied, more charged with static electricity. Kaelen landed the aircraft on a natural platform halfway up the main peak. From there, he would have to climb. Zephyria didn't allow vehicles in sacred sites. The climb was brutal. The rocks were slippery, covered in ice and slime. Lightning fell dangerously close, sometimes just meters away, but Kaelen persisted. With each step, he thought of the faces of the soldiers at Thornwatch, of the corrupted who had once been human, of Ithgall's manifestation that was forming. He could not fail. At the top, he found the seal. It was a circle of runic stones arranged around a blue crystal platform. In the center of the platform, a statue of Shangsha, a humanoid figure in scale armor, holding a spear that pointed to the sky. Lightning emanated from the tip of the spear, feeding the perpetual storm around it. The Guardian, Zhiyan warned. The statue moved. The blue crystal eyes lit up, and the figure descended from the petals with the grace of something not entirely physical. It was the Guardian, a projection of Shangsha's will. Its voice thundered, making the mountains tremble. Who seeks the power of the thunderbearer must be judged. Answer, why do you desire my power? To stop an outer god. Ithgall is manifesting through the Thornwatch rift. If I don't stop it, thousands will die. That is your reason, but it is not the only one. What else do you desire? Kaelen hesitated. Zhiyan had counseled him to be honest. Power, strength to protect those I love, and to prove that those who called me useless were wrong. Revenge. No, not revenge. Validation. I want the world to see that an invoker isn't synonymous with failure, that the class they despised can be the strongest of all, and if you obtain this power, what will you do when those who humiliated you are at your mercy? Kaelen thought of Lyra, of Gavrik, of General Dorn, of all who had belittled him, cheated him, tried to destroy him. Justice, he said finally, not revenge. If they broke laws, let them face the legal consequences. If they didn't, then my success will already be the best answer. The Guardian was silent for a long moment. Then, the Shangsha statue glowed intensely. The surrounding lightning converged on the platform, forming a vortex of light that enveloped Kaelen. You are honest. Imperfect but honest, and your motivation, though tinged with pride, is fundamentally altruistic. You seek power to protect, not to destroy. That is sufficient. The light exploded when Kaelen opened his eyes. He was back on the platform, but something had changed. In his mind, a new presence burned like a sun. It was not Zhiyan's quiet darkness. It was thunder and light, justice and purification, an energy that made his skin tingle and his hair stand on end. Host, the voice of the sanctuary sounded. Shangsha, the thunderbearer, has been bonded. Rank 7 achieved. 2 primordials, Kaelen whispered, feeling the combined power of Zhiyan and Shangsha flowing through his veins. It was almost unbearable, as if his body would explode. But he endured. He always endured. The 5th seal has been broken. Shangsha spoke, his voice the sound of a distant storm. I am free, and I am hungry for justice. Where are the enemies I must purify? Thornwatch. A manifestation of Ithgall is forming. I need your power to stop it. The rot, an ancient enemy. It will be a pleasure to burn it again. The return to Thornwatch was a race against time. Ithgall's manifestation had grown in the hours Kaelen had been absent. Now a colossal silhouette rose above the rift, visible to the naked eye. It took the form of a monstrous worm, its body covered in mouths and eyes, its presence draining the vitality from the environment. Where its shadow touched, the ground rotted. Soldiers who came too close began to cough, their skin taking on a grayish hue. The manifestation is almost complete. Greaves shouted when Kaelen landed the aircraft. In less than an hour, it will have enough strength to cross completely. We need to attack now. That's what I'm here for. Kaelen jumped from the aircraft, Zhiyan and Shangsha manifesting in their full form behind him. The sight of the 2 primordials side by side, one of darkness and silence, the other of light and thunder, made even the most experienced veterans step back. By the 9 hells, Zephon murmured, his Zephyrian arrogance completely evaporated. He really did it. 2 primordials. Now do you believe I can lead this alliance? Kaelen asked, without stopping his walk toward the rift. Yes. Yes, sir. Good. Gather all rank 6 or above hunters. We need a containment barrier around the rift. No one enters, no one exits. What I'm about to do inside may be destructive. You're going in alone again? Sarah protested, appearing at his side. Kaelen, last time you almost died. Last time I had only 1 primordial. Now I have 2. He held her hands. Trust me. I'll be back. It's the being back part that worries me. I always come back. Kaelen crossed the rift once more. This time, the interstitial plane was different. Ithgall's influence had transformed it into an even worse nightmare. The ground was covered by a layer of pulsating flesh. From the sky rained a black and oily liquid, and at the center of it all, the outer god's manifestation rose like a mountain of rot, its countless mouths emitting a chorus of hungry laments. You returned, Ithgall roared, its voice making the ground shake. And you brought a new toy. Shangsha, how long has it been? Long enough to know you're still as repugnant as ever, Shangsha replied. Shall we finish this quickly? Let's, Kaelen agreed. The battle that followed was epic in scale and devastation. Zhiyan attacked from the shadows, his claws tearing through Ithgall's mouths, silencing their laments. Shangsha invoked purification lightning that burned the corrupted flesh, reducing tentacles to ashes. Kaelen coordinated the 2, alternating between one's darkness and the other's light, their combined ranks allowing him to face the outer god as an equal. But Ithgall was immense. Each wound closed quickly. Each destroyed mouth was replaced by 2. The manifestation was growing stronger, more stable, more real. We need something bigger, Kaelen shouted. Shangsha, do you have a supreme technique? Yes, the final judgment, but it requires me to concentrate all my energy for several minutes. During that time, I will be vulnerable. Zhiyan can protect you. I'll distract Ithgall. Alone, you won't survive. I don't need to survive. I just need to hold on long enough. Kaelen advanced against the manifestation. Alone, without primordials. Only his hands wrapped in cutting shadows, a technique he had learned to use without Zhiyan's direct possession. He struck against the mouths, against the eyes, against every weak point he could find. The manifestation roared, trying to crush him with tentacles the size of tree trunks. Kaelen dodged, rolled, counterattacked. Each second was an eternity. Each movement a gamble with death. And then Shang shone. Final judgment. A pillar of pure light descended from the sky, or what passed for sky in the interstitial plane, and struck Ithgall dead on. The manifestation screamed, a sound that wasn't audible, but that reverberated in the soul of every living being for kilometers. The light enveloped it, burning the rot, purifying the corruption, unmaking the outer god's presence layer by layer. This is not the end, Ithgall roared as it dissipated. You may destroy this form, but you cannot destroy me. I am beyond death. I am beyond. The light silenced it. When the purification ended, the interstitial plane was transformed. The flesh on the ground had vanished. The black rain had stopped. The sky, though still purple, seemed less sickly. The rift was still there, but its activity had diminished to minimum levels. Kaelen fell to his knees, exhausted. Zhiyan and Shangsha retreated into his bond, equally drained. Mission complete. The voice of the sanctuary sounded. Ithgall's manifestation purified. The Thornwatch rift has been temporarily stabilized. Reward: Shangsha has reached the 2nd seal. Zhiyan has reached the 7th seal. Temporarily, Kaelen murmured. Always temporarily. The barrier continues to weaken, but you gain time. Use it wisely. When Kaelen emerged from the rift, the sight that awaited him was unlike any before. It was not just his team waiting. It was an army. Soldiers from all allied nations lined up in a formation of respect. When they saw him, they saluted in unison. Kaelen Voss, Field Marshal Greaves proclaimed, the purifier of Thornwatch, the bearer of 2 primordials, the sanctuary higher. The crowd erupted in applause. But Kaelen didn't care about acclamation. His eyes sought only one person. Sarah was there, at the front of the formation, tears in her eyes, but a smile on her lips. You came back, I said I would. He embraced her, finally allowing himself a moment of weakness. I always come back for you. Reckless idiot, she whispered. My reckless idiot. That night, Thornwatch celebrated. For the first time in months, the rift was quiet enough for the soldiers to rest. Bonfires were lit. Songs were sung. Toasts were made to the sanctuary hare, but Kaelen didn't join the festivities. He was in the command tent, gathered with Sarah, Greaves, and the Sovereign, who had arrived in haste upon receiving news of the victory. What you did today was heroic, the Sovereign said. But it was also a warning. If Ithgall managed to project such a powerful manifestation through a secondary rift, imagine what it will be able to do when the main barrier falls. I know. We need to accelerate the search for the remaining seals. Zhiyan and Shangsha won't be enough to stop the outer gods when they come in full force. We need all 9. Baxian's seal is in the capital, Sarah recalled, beneath the industrial district. We already have the approximate location. But we still don't have permission to excavate, the Sovereign added. The industrial district is controlled by the Blacksmiths Guild. They won't allow strangers to search their foundations. The Blacksmiths Guild? Kaelen frowned. Who leads them? A man named Garrick Tor, Greaves replied. Kaelen felt a chill run down his spine. Tor. It was Gavrick's last name. The Tor family, he murmured. The same ones who control the awakening stones in Viridia. The same, the Sovereign confirmed. And Garrick Tor is a close ally of General Dorn. If you want to access Baxian's seal, you'll have to negotiate with them. Or confront them. Then we'll confront them, Kaelen said. But with intelligence, not force. If I openly attack the Blacksmiths Guild, I'll be accused of abusing power. We need proof that they're obstructing the defense of Viridia. Or better yet, that they're involved in something worse. Worse how? Sarah asked. The Sovereign mentioned there's a traitor in the High Command. Someone passing information to Viridia's enemies. If the Tor family is tied to Dorn, and Dorn is tied to the information leak, then perhaps the Blacksmiths Guild is concealing something beyond Baxian's seal. You think they're working for the Outer Gods? Greaves asked, his voice incredulous. I think some humans would trade the world's survival for power. Fushi warned me in the Vault of the Ancients. There are traitors among us. If Dorn and Tor are those traitors, we need to discover it before they cause more damage. And how will we do that? The Sovereign asked. Kaelen thought for a moment. The Blacksmiths Guild controls the Industrial District. The Industrial District houses the foundations of the old capital. The foundations contain Baxian's seal. If I ask permission to access the seal, they'll deny it. But if I don't ask permission, you'll be violating the law, Sarah completed. Exactly. So I need a legitimate reason to enter the Industrial District, something that cannot be denied. And what reason would that be? Greaves asked. Kaelen smiled, a smile that wasn't exactly reassuring. A security inspection. After all, Thornwatch just faced an outer god manifestation. Who can guarantee that there are no agents of the enemy infiltrated in the capital? Who can guarantee that the Industrial District isn't being used to supply the traitors? You want to plant suspicion, the Sovereign said, her eyes brightening with understanding. Make the Blacksmiths Guild be investigated. No, I want to investigate them myself, but for that, I need official authorization. He looked at the Sovereign. Will you grant it? The Sovereign hesitated. This could cause a political incident. If you investigate the guild and find nothing, Dorn and Tor will use it against you. Then I need to find something, and if my suspicions are correct, I will. And if they're wrong, then I apologize formally and face the consequences. But if I'm right, Kaelen paused. If I'm right, Viridia will have one less enemy to worry about. The Sovereign deliberated for a long moment. Then, she pulled out a blank scroll and wrote quickly. When she finished, she applied her royal seal and handed it to Kaelen. This is a special investigation authorization. It gives you the power to inspect any installation in Viridia that may represent a threat to national security. Use it wisely. Thank you, Sovereign. Don't thank me yet. If you're wrong, this may be the end of your career. And if you're right, it may be the beginning of a civil war. I'd rather a civil war now than extinction in 3 years. As Kaelen left the command tent, Sarah followed. You're making dangerous enemies, she said. I already have dangerous enemies. I'm just leveling the playing field. It's not funny, Kaelen. I know. He stopped and turned to her. But think about it. Dorn tried to have me killed at the tournament. Gavrik and Lyra publicly humiliated me. The Blacksmiths Guild controls the resources that could have helped me, but chose to obstruct me. If they're on the side of the outer gods, then every day they remain free is a day the real enemies grow stronger. And if you're wrong, if Dorn is just a bitter old man and the Blacksmiths Guild is just a greedy corporation, but not a traitor one, then I apologize and move on. But Sarah, he held her hands. You were with me in the Vault of the Ancients. You heard Fushi. There are traitors among us. That wasn't a vague warning. It was a specific one. If I ignore it, I'll be complicit in whatever comes next. Sarah nodded slowly. Then let's find the truth. Together as always. Together, Kaelen confirmed. The aircraft took off from Thornwatch the following morning, carrying Kaelen, Sarah, and a small team of investigators back to Orion. The capital received them with a mixture of celebration and tension. News of the victory at Thornwatch had spread, and Kaelen was now a national hero. But rumors about the impending investigation had also leaked, and Dorn's allies were on alert. In the industrial district, the Blacksmiths Guild awaited them. Garrick Tor, the family patriarch, was a broad-shouldered man with calloused hands, his small eyes glinting with calculating intelligence. At his side, Gavrik was pale, his arrogance replaced by a wary tension. Kaelen Voss. Garrick greeted, his voice unctuous. The hero of Thornwatch. What an honor to receive you in our humble guild. Thank you, Master Tor. Kaelen showed the authorization scroll. I'm here on official business. I need to inspect the district's foundations. The foundations? But they're nothing but ancient ruins. There's nothing of value there. Then there will be no objections to my inspection. Garrick hesitated. His eyes flicked to Gavrik for a fraction of a second. Of course not. Feel free. Kaelen and its team descended to the underground levels of the district. The foundations were, indeed, ancient ruins, remnants of the pre-cataclysm capital, buried beneath centuries of construction. But there was something else there. Something that Sarah's arcane sensors detected immediately. There's a massive concentration of essence down here, she whispered, much larger than should exist in abandoned ruins. Baxian seal? Perhaps. But there's something else too, an energy that isn't primordial. It's different. They followed the essence readings through forgotten corridors until they reached a hidden chamber behind a false wall. Inside, they found something that made Kaelen's blood run cold. It was an altar dedicated not to the primordials, but to the outer gods. Invocation runes had been carved into the floor, fed by stolen essence crystals. In the center of the altar, a smaller fragment of an outer god, similar to the one Kaelen had faced in the Grizzle Forest, was being cultivated, fed by the energy drained from the foundations. They're creating fragments, Sarah whispered, horrified. Inside the capital itself. That explains the information leaks, Kaelen said. They're not just betraying Viridia. They're actively helping the outer gods infiltrate. Before they could document the discovery, footsteps echoed in the corridor. Garrick Tor and a dozen guild guards blocked the exit. I warned you that you shouldn't have come here, Garrick said, his voice now cold as steel. Now, inconvenient witnesses need to be silenced. You're cultivating outer gods, Kaelen accused. That is treason. It is survival. When the barrier falls, and it will fall, those who serve the gods will be rewarded. The others will be food. I chose the winning side. You chose the extinction of humanity. Humanity is already extinct. It just hasn't realized yet. Garrick raised his hand, and the guards advanced. Kill them, Kaelen sighed. You really think a few guards can stop us? Zhiyan and Shangsha manifested simultaneously. The darkness swallowed half the guards, while purification lightning incinerated the other half. In seconds, Garrick Tor was alone, pressed against the wall by Zhiyan's claws. Please. Garrick stuttered. I can help. I can tell everything, the names, the contacts, Dorn, the entire network. You'll have that chance, Kaelen said, at trial. Before the Sovereign. When news of the Blacksmith Guild's treason spread, the capital was stunned. The subsequent investigation revealed an extensive network of conspirators, including members of the Tor family, corrupt guard officers, and as Kaelen had suspected, General Dorn. The old military man was arrested at his mansion, his defense crumbling before the irrefutable evidence, but the victory had a bitter taste. Among the documents seized from the guild, Kaelen found something that made his blood run cold. A list of targets. His name was at the top, but just below, there was another name, Sarah Valen. They were planning to eliminate us, Kaelen said, showing the document to Sarah. Before we could discover the truth, but they failed. We discovered them first, this time. But their network was larger than we imagined. The document mentioned cells in other cities, in other nations. The rot had spread further than we thought. Then let's disinfect it. Together, Kaelen pocketed the document. The war against the outer gods was far from over, but before facing the external threats, they needed to purge the internal ones. And that meant the battle for the soul of Viridia was only just beginning. In the depths beneath the industrial district, Baxian's seal waited. With the Blacksmith's Guild dismantled, access was clear. Soon, Kaelen would free the third primordial, and with each new ally, his strength grew. But the outer gods were also growing stronger. Somewhere beyond the veil, Ithgall still existed, its hatred burning like a black sun. And it was not alone. The clock kept running. 3 years, now a little less.
If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, and help build the hype so YouTube recommends it to more people. Our goal for this video is 200 comments. That will let me know you enjoyed it and motivate me to bring part as quickly as possible. Thank you for making it all the way to the end, and I'll see you in the next video.